Before we start, I just want to share with you something. After we have a minute of silence for all the Palestinians who were killed and all the children and women who were killed. Last massacre was last night at the beach camp at Sheffield, when an entire family, 7 members, mainly women and children, they were all killed, but a 1-month-old baby called Ahmad Omar al-Hadidi. We stand in a minute of silence to remember all the victims, to remember all the people who were forced to leave their homes, to remember all the terrified children in the Gaza Strip at the moment, in East Jerusalem, everywhere inside pre-1948 Palestine. A minute of silence, please. Thank you very much. Thanks. Again, today it's a difficult one because we were supposed to commemorate the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians by the Israeli militias in 1948. But sadly, this ethnic cleansing has continued to be ongoing. And what we've seen in East Jerusalem recently is a continuation of this ethnic cleansing. Now I will quote a resident of East Jerusalem, Sheikh Jarrah, Mahmoud al-Kurd. Al-Kurd family has been suffering for a long period at the hands of the colonial settlers with the support of the Israeli government. Mahmoud al-Kurd, he's appealing to people not to use the word evict, because evict could mean some judicial step, something legal. So you are going to evict somebody by law. And he says this is not eviction, this is ethnic cleansing of us. 19 to 25 families in the Sheikh Jarrah are suffering the ongoing ethnic cleansing at the hands of the Israeli state. We will hear again later about the JNF from one of our speakers, Annie, and the continuing ethnic cleansing in the Naqab desert to the village of Al-Araqib and other villages as well. We are facing a state which feels superior, which feels as part of its racist policy that those Palestinians don't deserve to be there. So we're gonna forcefully remove them from where they are to pave way for people to come from Brooklyn, from Germany, for Russia, and the world is applauding them. And this is the hypocrisy of our government. Our government, which builds factories for the Israeli drones and the Israeli other parts for their military machine. I will not take long time because we have so many speakers. I would like to invite our first speaker, an activist who's been working tirelessly for the cause of the Palestinians as a student and as a filmmaker, and she is what we call her our daughter and our beloved Shahad Abu Salama. So Shahad will start. So each speaker will speak at maximum 5 minutes. We'll give Shahad 6. So.
Thank you all for standing here. It's been very difficult days, very horrifying what is going on. and we just have to keep witnessing it over and over again. I was born a refugee in Jabalia refugee camp, Palestine's largest refugee camp. And ever since I was born, what is happening now in Gaza has been a marker of life. And my sister is here with me. And I know that most Palestinians are shaken right now. Most Palestinians are shaken. We are devastated. We have been for 6 days now, not eating, not sleeping, and we're just waiting for a call from our families to tell us that they're dead. 2 days ago, I was live on Instagram with Luki, the Iraqi-British rapper, and a few other activists and ordinary Palestinians in Gaza, photographers who witnessed the horrific aftermath of Israeli bombings. And in the middle of the call, my mom called from under the table. And I've never heard my mom so horrified. I've never heard my dad so horrified. They were under the table, they were hiding under the table, and 30 people were running from northern areas in the Gaza Strip that were under heavy bombardment by Israeli airstrikes. And if you heard my mom's voice, she called to say goodbye. She was saying Shahada. Do you know what Shahada means? This is what basically any Palestinian Muslim who sees their death coming, they say it before meeting their God, before being buried alive. And this is what they are worried about. They are worried that they are going to be bombed. And if you just imagine the powerlessness that we've all had when our mother called to say goodbye, all she was thinking of under that heavy bombardment was hearing our voice and say goodbye. She's still alive, she's still standing still. And so many Palestinians are still holding their ground in Palestine because we believe our cause is just. We are the indigenous people of Palestine. We were uprooted not once, not twice, not 3 times, multiple times. And this is happening before the eyes of the whole world. What we must do right now is not call for escalation, is punish Israel. We don't, what I hear on international media, they are calling for de-escalation from both sides, as if there are both sides here. We all know there are no 2 sides. There is an occupier and an occupied. And when you see everything happening from Gaza to Haifa, to Jerusalem, to Sheikh Jarrah, to Nablus, to Beira, to Hebron, you see the ethnic cleansing campaign that is happening from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
Boycott Israel! Boycott Israel! Boycott Israel!
Boycott Israel.
Stop arming Israel!
Stop arming Israel.
Stop arming Israel!
Stop arming Israel.
Ya Jama'ah, it's been so horrific what is going on. Yesterday, a massacre happened. There are counting really, one massacre after the other. In Shati refugee camp, the beach refugee camp, not very far from our home. Families were wiped out. Abu Hatab family and another family, I lost count right now and I can't follow. But the footages that came from there are 7 people, if not more, at least, have been announced dead. The majority of them are children. The people are appealing from under the rubble. The ambulances are not reaching the injured and the people who are trapped under the rubble. There's indiscriminate fire that has been going for 6 days. 6 days of mass killing and mass destruction. The losses are estimated at more than 80 million already in 6 days. What did the rockets really achieve? The rockets that are fired from Gaza, what did they achieve? They achieved like nothing. This is the only thing that Palestinians have to defend themselves. In Jerusalem, they are using fireworks. They are using rockets. People are being burned inside their homes. Settlers have burned 2 children in Jaffa. And we've seen this. All of this is filmed. All of this on cameras. People have witnessed this. This is our people, our loved ones that we're so worried about. And we want everybody to do their best and end this material complicity in Israeli death machine. We have to do our best. Keep it up and stay strong, everybody, and make your rage heard. Make it heard in your neighborhoods, in your community centers, in your schools, in your workplace, everywhere. Make it heard. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Thank you very much, Sean. Indeed, it's for people. I'm just going to share with you the names of the children who died with their mothers, because they are people, and we don't want to say, please remember the name. Hur Azamli, 3-year-old. We didn't have time to print because the killing is going on every day. Hur Azamli, 3-year-old, died with her mother. Khulud Ashar was pregnant. That's one of the victims. Remember, Hur Azamli and Khulud Ashar, her pregnant mother. Can I invite the second speaker, the secretary of the TUC, Martin Mayer? Is he here? Martin.
Thank you, Bashir. Greetings, everybody. My name is Martin Mayer. I'm Secretary of Sheffield Trade Union Council, and I bring solidarity greetings from the trade union movement here in Sheffield, from the trade union branches affiliated with Sheffield TUC and from our executive committee. You know, just last year, the TUC Congress, My Union Unite, presented a motion calling for solidarity across the whole trade union movement with Palestine. And for the first time, the Trade Union Congress adopted a motion that described Israel as an apartheid state. And this was a very, very important development in the solidarity of the trade union movement, because somehow people have been frightened of using that word. But when you look at what's been happening in Israel over these last 73 years, there's no doubt about it, Israel is an apartheid state. You know, today is the 73rd anniversary of the Nakba, as it's called. The catastrophe, I understand, is the Arabic word. The catastrophe when, on the establishment of the Israeli state, Jewish terrorist gangs invaded Palestinian villages, massacred women and children, and drove 700,000 Palestinians out of their homes. And it was a sign of what was to come. A state of Israel for Jewish people, not for the Palestinians who lived on that land. And we've seen a whole history ever since of that kind of oppression and murder and injustice. And that's why we're here today, because yet again, we've seen a further outbreak of an Israeli state that's out of control. So we're here, and it's great to see all of you here today, because that kind of public show of solidarity with Palestine here in Sheffield and across the world is what's going to expose the hypocrisy and complacency of our Western leaders who have allowed this to happen. They've stood back and supported Israel, or turned the other way. And it's the power of the people that's going to change this. So well done for coming out today in the rain. Well done for showing your solidarity with Palestine. And we, the trade union movement, are solidly behind you.
Free Palestine! Thank you very much. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Can we say something else now? I will say we stand with, and you say Palestine. We stand with Palestine! We stand with Palestine! We stand with Palestine! We stand with Palestine! Thank you very much. Can I, before I invite the third speaker, Annie O'Gara from Sheffield Palestine campaign, I want to share with you another massacre. I'll just come to one side. Ra'fat al-Tanani, a cousin. Everything in Palestine is personal. As Shah talked about her family, we talk about friends, our relatives. And one of our friends who was here in Sheffield with us in 2005, with Shah and Majdan, the folk dance group, Suhail Tanani lost a family, his cousin's family, Ra'fat Tanani, again, his pregnant wife and 4 children. Ra'fat Tanani, pregnant wife and 4 children. Annie from Sheffield Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Can you hear us in the back? Can you hear us in the back?
Yeah, I'll speak up. The JNF, the Jewish National Fund, an agent of the ongoing Nakba, and believe it or not, a registered charity in this country. 2 quotations sum up why we think the JNF is a cornerstone of Israeli apartheid. The first is from one of the leaders of the JNF, Yosef Weitz, 1940. They got tired of trying to buy the land of Palestine. They got tired of trying to buy it, and they decided on something more radical. Yosef Weitz said, there is no way but to transfer the Arabs from the country. Transfer all of them. Not one village must be left. And for this, funds must be found, and the JNF is an agent of gathering funds for Israeli apartheid. The JNF helped with the Nakba. It helped by pushing the idea of transfer, which is just another word for ethnic cleansing, onto the Zionist leadership. It helped practically by mapping the land of Palestine, village files showing roads in, roads out, which the Jewish militias used when they were sweeping through Palestine and throwing people out of their homes. And after the Nakba, over 300 of the ethnically cleansed villages were taken over, all their lands as well, by the JNF. And it built parks, it planted forests for 2 reasons: to stop the refugees, the Palestinian refugees coming back, and also to hide the traces of ethnic cleansing and the massacres that had been committed. That was the JNF then. A modern quotation, 2008. The JNF is not a public body that works for the benefit of all the citizens of the state. The loyalty of the JNF is given to the Jewish people, and only to them is the JNF obligated. The JNF does not have a duty to practice equality towards all citizens of the state. Does that matter? What it does if you're a registered charity, and you're a registered charity that's meant to be for the public good and meant not to do any harm. And the JNF does harm, and it's doing harm today. Some of those soldiers who are bombing Gaza, who went into Al-Aqsa and desecrated Al-Aqsa on the holiest day of the holiest month may well have gone through one of the JNF's pre-military training academies. In East Jerusalem, the JNF teams up with the illegal, radical, right-wing settlers to evict Palestinians from their homes. And in the Nakab, the JNF UK is pouring money into the Nakab where the Bedouin are being evicted from their homes. And it dresses that up as environmentalism. It's actually got observer status at the world's biggest environmental conference, COP26 in Glasgow, coming up soon. And believe it or not, you and I are propping them up. They get 25% enhancement of their donations through gift aid. It's shocking. We don't want to prop them up, but the system makes us do it. And our complaints have so far fallen on deaf ears. And that's because the British state, from 1917 to today, has supported Zionism, supported Israel, and is shielding the JNF. But things do change. Last week, families in Ballymurphy, Belfast, squeezed the truth from the British state, the truth that their relatives had been shot down, innocent, unarmed citizens, by the British Army. It took them 50 years, but the truth came out, and justice will follow. These are ordinary people. People like you, like me. Some call them the little people. But there's a saying in Donegal, which is, it's not the size of the dog in the fight that counts, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And my final point, our job here is to match the fight, the spirit and the resilience of the Palestinians, which is beyond compare. Not just today, not just during the crisis, but for the long haul afterwards, until Israel is called to account for being an apartheid state and the Palestinians get the justice that they deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.